host them, but people can also use this platform or service to contribute to them, which is undoubtedly true. The name that I have the question was, is there a name for this service and or platform or product or XYZ? The name is Open Source the website. Open Sourcers, yes. We'll go with Open Sourcers. Done. Thank you for the name. The question was, is there a name for this service and or platform or product or XYZ? The name is Open Source the website. Sure. So, short term, I think the most viable thing to do is to pick a very specific use case and then do a directory style expose of different sub-problems within that use case, and then the different tools available to that. And then slowly over time, expand on those use cases until we have a critical mass of information that we can then convert into a database and convert into a search engine. But first start very specific, very niche, with a high access problem. So something like distributed systems, containers, things of that nature is not very well figured out. People have a lot of questions. There are a lot of open source tools, but there's not a good that thing where people filter stuff. I don't know, remember, curation, yes. And I think I have one more question. Okay. Is not very well figured out. People have a lot of questions. There are a lot of open source tools, but there's not a good that thing where people filter stuff. I don't know, remember, curation, yes. And I think I have one more question. Okay. So most of those search functionalities are designed around, or they're keyword searches, right? This is going to be, and they're focused on matching what you're searching for. They're kind of like assuming that you know the answer, right? The problem about Google, as all of you here have Googled a lot, because 42, is that if you don't know the answer you're looking for, it can be very difficult to find that answer, right? The problem of unknown unknowns is not solved by Google. You have to know enough things to be able to find the right answer. So the thing here is, by going with a use case first approach, someone can type in their problem, and then from the deconstruction of the problem, we can focus from the problem and then reverse engineer the problem to give them the solutions. So someone doesn't have to actually know what they're looking for or what their solution is. They can go with simply their problem. And then from the deconstruction of the problem, we can focus from the problem and then reverse engineer the problem. I've played enough with search to hesitate using the word semantic search, but at least faux semantic search. Yeah. And I think we are out of questions, unfortunately. Thank you. I've played enough with search to hesitate using the word semantic search, but at least faux semantic search. Yeah. And I think we are out of questions.
Hi. Hello. I'm Mason. I tell clean jokes and write a blog every morning, or at least I try to. This week I've been really busy with a lot of stuff, so sorry guys, sorry readers. I really mean it. But I write a blog about breakfast. We have a wonderful place to eat here at 42 called The Cantina, and they serve a bomb diggity breakfast for $4. It blows my mind every morning, and if you'd like to join me in my revelations, along with my eggs, ham, frittatas, whatever I get each morning, just go to serialize.me. Serialize.me is kind of a play on the fact that I write about what I'm thinking about each day, which since I'm at 42, it's kind of hard to avoid thinking about code. Serialization also is something that we do when we transfer data around, but at the same time, serialization means being consistent and like having a release every day. My release schedule is every morning before 10 o'clock. I'd like to get out my blog post. I have a backlog of about 5 or 6 days now because of what I've been busy with, but I have been taking the pictures and I have been enjoying the breakfast, and so I hope I can get that information up and running for all of you to read. But I do have 30 posts already, ranging from topics like C++, C, Python, Ruby, and of course eggs, bacon, sausage. So I hope everybody can enjoy that. Any questions about it? Information up and running for all of you to read. But I do have 30 posts already, ranging from topics like C++. My favorite issue so far is the last one that has a fully written post. I wrote about C++ before the C++ scene started, and I happened to find the amazing picture of the C++ creator going like, Yeah, I made C++. And you should totally read it. I believe it is post 30. So if you go to serialize.me/30, you will find that amazing post. Pablo? And I happened to find the amazing picture of the C++ creator going like, yeah, I made C++. And you should totally read it. I believe it is post 30. So if you go to serialize.me/30, you will find that amazing. Yeah, Pablo brings up that, yeah, serialization is putting words to a string, or putting data to a string, and it's me trying to put, hey, that's the sound of a yo-yo dropping. Is that a trickster yo-yo dropping? Those are $70. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next person, so who else has an idea that they want to pitch? Hey, that's the sound of a yo-yo dropping. Yeah, oh, one more question from Josh. Is that a trickster yo-yo dropping? There will be an international version. I'm planning on having what they call fructost every morning in Sweden, and sadly there is no word for breakfast in French. They say petit déjeuner, but that really means small lunch. So join me for those fruit cheeses, that's what fructost could roughly translate to in Swedish, and those small lunches while I'm on my vacation for the next 2 months.
Awesome. Thank you, Mason. So I think we're ready to get into tonight's demo and get started with the Vim and Emacs demonstrations. So actually, you're doing the first one, right? So we're welcoming Mason back up.
Hi, I'm Mason. I write a blog in Vim. I'm using any computer that has VI or Vim installed on it. Is that this one? Hi, I'm Mason. Your keyboard doesn't fully work. What keys are broken? I'll use Eric's because that was the one that I was going to use. Where is Eric? More clean jokes, you say? Do I have any more clean jokes? That, by the way, is the joke. Like, I say clean jokes because then I can be like, like I'm searching my mind through a bunch of dirty jokes. I actually don't know any dirty jokes. I probably do, but I can't say them right now. It's a paradox. 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 Anyway, I can't think of anything particularly hilarious. I can just talk about Vim without a computer because it's that magical to me. So I met Vim one day while I was just trying to commit to Git. I was just trying to post my stuff up to my repo, and suddenly it was like, boom, and it shot me into Vim, and I was like, where am I? And I tried to get out with escape, and I tried to get out, and it was like, you cannot escape. And I learned the first and most important thing about Vim, which is that you have to press the Colt. So VI doesn't even have a lot of the features that we need. Where's my computer? I'd love to show you some of this stuff. But, all right, cool. I can use mine, too. Or mine doesn't show up on the projector. Can you use yours? All right. But VI is missing a lot of the features because it's ancient. It actually was based on a old text editing program called EX. EX is an inline editor. It's like editor extended, as I believe what it stands for, but do not quote me on that. VI is literally a visual editor. It took the magic that was EX and a few other programs and combined them together to actually make something usable, something you could see what's happening. Could you imagine editing a file back in the day where you don't even look at the file, you just go, I want to edit this, and then it goes, okay, it's been done. And you don't see what's happening? That's how it used to be. Alrighty. Eventually, someone noticed that as computers kept on getting released, they had Vim, and then eventually, I'm not sure which computer it was. I want to say it has one of those fun names, but a lot of old computers have fun names. But it didn't come with Vim, and so someone was like, what? And so they started remaking Vim. They made a Vim clone, And that's what Vim actually stands for. Now it stands for Vim Improved, but it used to be VI Imposter. But eventually it actually completely cloned all of the options that Vim had, or VI had, and more, and so it became Vim Improved. Let's show you some of this action, though. Okay, beautiful. And it's that easy to install. All right, so I'll be using a Japanese keyboard. So we're on the first page on Vim here, and it gives you some really good suggestions, like how to leave. Boom. Wait, what's going on there? Oh my gosh, this is a Japanese keyboard. All right, so I'll be using a Japanese keyboard. Yeah, we love each other. Yeah, this isn't going to work because I have a Japanese keyboard. Just press colon? Okay, cool, that's interesting. So on Japanese keyboards, you just press colon and it just works. That's fantastic. So boom, boom, we quit. Vim, we're back in. So that's the most important thing. Help is also really important. Whoops, if you spell help wrong, it will bring you to whatever help page is the closest to it. And so I typed hell at, and it took me to what the @ sign does. That shows you the contents of a register. And so, yeah, we could even check our registers like that. Oh, hey, I'm being given a regular keyboard. That's handy. So now my fingers can do the work. It probably does. Let's see. I think the key bindings are still Japanese. Yep, key bindings are still Japanese. I'll just go with it, roll with it. That's actually the thing I bring to Vim. The reason I really like Vim is because it's already there. I just want to use the stuff that's already there. So we're already in Vim. I is to go into insert mode. Escape will take you out of that. So we'll Control C. I don't really need to give you an exact lesson on Vim because we can just at any time type help, like I said, and it will take you through everything you ever need to know. The first thing it shows you is that you can press J, H, and K, and L to move around, but way more important than that is you might not be able to read it very well, but that's Control Brace, brace meaning the square bracket. You can do that over the top of any topic in this document, and it will teach you more about it. And so if we go to the training session and hover over the word tutor and press Control bracket, which is also in a weird space on this keyboard, found it. You got to press, whoa, that's weird. Anyway, it'll take you down to using Vim and everything. So this is just a basic tutor. There's a tutor in French, so if we have any French students out there, you're good. It will talk you all the way through. It's about 30 minutes long. That is a lie. It tells you to experiment. If you want to actually learn Vim and you're going to be experimenting, that tutor could take you forever. There's a lot to learn there. So let's jump out of the tutorial and try out some stuff. So a lot of these features will be in Emacs as well. Oh, can you not hear me? Zoom in. Control plus. Plus on a Japanese keyboard is where's the plus for a Japanese keyboard? Come look at it. I don't care. Anyway. Over semicolon. That's interesting. All right. Enhance, 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 and draw. Okay, so this is, whoa, does space not work either? No, it's just tiny. This is a strange keyboard. Does it actually type in Japanese? Not in Vim, I don't think. I don't know how. Anyway, this is a strange keyboard, and so that's the first thing I typed. I could go ahead and type that as many times as I want if I do something, whoops, something again. Again, this keyboard's crazy. I can't use my computer because it doesn't show up on our projector, just so you know. But I can do something again as many times as I want because when you type something in command mode, or when you type something in insert mode, it becomes the period key in Vim, and so if you find yourself typing something that you need to type immediately again, you can press that. I was going to show you guys if I need hello, and then something, whatever, something new. And we have 3 things that we've done. I can jump to any of the lines just by specifying them. Oh man, the colon is not the right button. I can specify to any of the lines. I can set my preferences live. So they teach you a bunch of basic preferences in the Vim tutor, but you can set your number lines. You can set even syntax on. This is just a text file, so there won't be any syntax in it. But if you're in C or anything, syntax is built in for most things. Not everything, though. It's there for Markdown, Ruby, C, C++, a lot of stuff. And that's all the way down to just basic Vim. I use on the lab computers in here, we have Vim from 2010. I believe it's like 7.3. Vim 8 has a lot of new stuff as well. It's asynchronous, so that solves a lot of the problems of if you're trying to do a lot at once, which I don't like installing Vim plugins. Eric, who will be going next after me with Vim, if he ever shows up, I'm supposed to use his computer too. He decks out his Vim in plugins. I've actually been very against that for a while. One, because I can't just jump onto someone's computer and have all my plugins, and so I don't like to have that. I like to just be able to ready to just type some text. But Vim 8 solves the problem of your plugins slowing everything down because it can run your plugins and their searches and etc. their processes separately from Vim itself. So I just grabbed my invisible glasses. So now that I've typed like some things, I can undo. I can redo. Whoops, the colon's really weird. Redo, or you can press Control-R to redo. But cooler than that, if I undo and type something else, I kind of have folded something new into an abyss. You can actually access that with G-, and now I have something new or something else. So I actually can see both of my trees. You can do that with undo L, and it will show you wherever you branched. And so it's like built-in version control inside of Vim. That can be really helpful. You can also just at any time open up a new file. So boom, I haven't saved this one, so let me save it. The colon is so weird. You don't have to press shift to do colon on this computer. Anyway, right, lol. And space is so tiny. So, lol, anyway. Any other keyboard would be lovely. So we can open up something. We can actually jump between those with Control-O and I. It takes you to where you've previously been. This goes throughout files, throughout the tutorial even, I think, if it was in the same page. So if you just come back to your computer after you've been working on something, you can open up Vim all the way to just the vanilla Vim page. So I could exit out of this, boom. I can just go back to this normal Vim page, and then I can do Control-I and O, and it will take me back through. There we go. And so you kind of have your history, like forward and backwards on a browser, just built into Vim as well. This goes all the way back to VI, and so if you're like, oh, which file was I in while I'm SSH'd on someone's server that is foreign to me, you still can open up Vim and you can go through. You'll actually even go through their history. And so if you're trying to figure out what the last sysadmin was doing on a server and they happen to use Vim, you can actually go through their history. If you want to see that history written out visually, you can just type jumps, and it will show you all the different jumps that have been made. This is an Emacs computer, so there have only been like 3 jumps and then 1 in the past. That is incredible. There's normally, it can hold as many as you want, but it's set by default at like 100. But I suggest, since it's almost trivial, you can expand your jumps to be as much as you want. It's as useful as if you haven't in Shell already, make your history go back for decades, unless you're doing weird stuff. It's just like in your browser even. You want to know what you've done because it'll help you get back to where you've been so that you don't keep repeating yourself. You can just look at your old history. Now something, I don't know, do you have some just C code on here or anything? Do you have a project? Okay. So Vim has a built-in navigation. So I can go to his home directory, which is what I'm in. Lots of stuff. Your documents or projects? There we go. Projects. We're going to go ahead and go into some C. Actually, we'll go into 42. And we'll go to get next line. It's a classic, right? Get next line. So we're in get next line. All right. So actually, boom, get next line.c. It's a little big to be reading, but we can go ahead and run bang anywhere we're at. And this is actually going to turn into a problem because Bang will run a shell command from wherever you're at, and we opened up Vim in the home directory, so now I'd need to type the specific path to where I am, which I don't know if I correctly remember it. It was projects. Projects, 42, get next line, just get next line. Just get next line. There we go, get next line up, that's testing tools. Maybe capitalized? Yeah, nope. Anyway, what we'll do to make me not have to type the path in is we'll just navigate there in shell. Projects. Oh. You don't have consistency on your naming. But you have a Japanese keyboard that I'm sure you can use, which is awesome. 42. I just learned to type yesterday, so this is actually really impressive. You just don't know it. What? I can't get underscore because I need like an extra key. It's in the bottom right. It's Alt or the one with all the. Ah, got it. Anyway. So now we can do this. We can type C tags and run it on all of our. Whoa, the asterisk is moved too. Anyway, I will just type them out. You can do it with asterisk C to get all your stuff, but we only have one file in here, so I just ran it. And do we have the libft? Let's run it on libft as well. So, oh, so I can just call them in on tags. I'll just go into your libft then. That'll be an easier explanation. So, nope. Are they in your sources? So get nextline.c, and we'll do libft sources. And what's something you use in your libft? Like do you stirdup or anything like that? Something like that, so I don't have to type all these. Okay, so what that just did was, well, C tags. C tags will make tags for each of your files, and then you can navigate them that way that I showed earlier by pressing Control and the square bracket. You can move between all your functions. This makes grading people here at 42 really easy because you can just C tag all their files, and then as you go through, you can, so I'll find stirdup. You can do a search real quick in Vim like this by typing a backslash. So here's stirdup. And so I can hover over stirdup, and I want to see what that function is. And so I can just Control, Shift, brace, boom. And now I'm at stirdup, so I can read what's happening. This is really handy for actually tracing through a program by hand and reading it along with somebody. You can use tools, of course, like LLDB or something to trace through a program. But if you're going through by hand and trying to like tweak things and read them, you don't need something as powerful as LLDB. You can just use Vim because it has the ability to work along with C tags. So that's what I got for now, other than maybe some notes that I have. Let's see if I covered all the crap that I want to say. And you can open up multiple files at once and move through them as well. That also helps for particularly long corrections, like of libft. You can just open up if they have them in a sources folder, or even if they don't, you can just type vim star.c, enter, and it will open them up one after another. You can look at the first one, then do :n, and you'll go to the next file. It won't say there's only one to edit because there would be multiple ones in a row. Actually, I can do that real quick for you guys, and then I'll pass it off to an Emacs person. So cd libft sources. So if I wanted a quick overview of what's all going on here. Oh yeah, I don't have, anyway, don't have, what's it called? Asterisks. All right, so anyway, we have two files. We could look through them, and then next. And if GG takes you to the top of your file, capital G takes you to the bottom of the file, you'd be surprised how actually useful that is. But on top of that, a fun Easter egg is if you type GG G equals, there's nothing cool on this cool about this keyboard because I can't do anything fast. Anyway, normally I can use my muscle memory to just press this, but if you want to have fun later, do GGG question mark capital G. GGG question mark capital G. It will put the Caesar cipher on your entire file that you're in. It's great if somebody comes up, walks behind you, you don't want to read what you're typing. GGG, where's equals? Equals. No, it's negative. It's question mark. So GGG question mark capital G. Boom. Suddenly everything has gone through the Caesar cipher, and you can't read anymore. So that's some weird stuff. If you want more weird stuff with Vim on the vanilla side, definitely talk to me. Yeah, I'll even have my own keyboard. Yeah. Oh, questions about vanilla Vim, no plugins. Yeah. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Sometimes when I was doing now I have nothing. But before each exam, while I was in the casino when I did the C beginner exam, I would open up a vimRC or my vimRC because they don't want us to touch the regular vimRC that they have, which by the way actually already has stuff in it, which is why I moved to having no vimRC. Because if I know there's no vimRC, then if somebody's tried to pull a fast one on me and has had the system apply Vim settings, I can tell immediately. But I like to use set numbers. Now I don't because I kind of tell. I use relative. You can set relative numbers as well, so that like the line you're on is 0, and then everything behind is negative. That's oh. Sorry guys. You can use relative numbers and all sorts of stuff like that. I used to also set syntax on, but now I prefer to kind of look at the code before I even see syntax because I don't know. It's just kind of a weird quirk that I have. Maybe I'll have answers for it eventually. But yeah, no vimRC stuff in my vimRC. Any other questions? Brett?
What's compiling on it like? Do you need Vim to compile?
Actually, the make command is built into Vim, so you literally just type command make, and you have a good make file. Yeah. That also means that you can have your scripts and everything ready built into your make file because you can make rules that work right off the bat. So I normally run make. Also, I'm a big fan of when you're in Vim, you're just a second away from going back into a shell, and then you can Control D to leave your shell, and you'll be back. So if I need to do something particularly special, I'll just do that.
Is that shell a subprocess?
That shell, it depends if you're on Vim 8. It's stacked onto the same process, which can get laggy, but you should get used to that because once you're SSH'd through something and they only have Vim installed 20 years ago, you're going to have to deal with that typing lag. Also, if you're just given VI, you can sometimes expect the screen to not even update, so code blindfolded. All right, next.
Hey everybody, this is the Emacs portion. Perfect. I just evaluate it.
Yeah, but I want to make it bigger.
Oh yeah. It'll make itself bigger, I think.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's right.
Woo. Hi, this is Emacs. So I went about just enumerating all of my favorite things that you could do. So, because Emacs is enormous, it's basically an operating system built over a text editor with not such a very good text editor, but but it works and it's great, and you can do cool stuff like start an Emacs shell. You know, it'll do all the cool stuff. shells do. You can type and have it disappear because I'm bad at making the presentation. I'll show that later. But you can also open up cool files that have their own program or source code specific syntax highlighting. This one is, what is this one? Python. Yeah, this one's Python. We got some Haskell in here. That one I had to download a package to to have it do that. There's some C code for the homies. And then we got, you know, the package manager, which is just enormous. There's multiple repositories to do this or to get all this stuff on the internet, and so many packages, just days and days. You could get lost. There's multiple Spotify clients. There's there's so much on there. It's so fun to just kind of like explore it. I think I saw 2048 on there the other day. That one's always fun. And then we got, so it's made in this interpreted language called Emacs Lisp. And if you re-implement all of the C code to your target platform, then it will just interpret all of that Emacs code for free. And so like it's really not too hard to port it over.
Well, you can compile Lisp too.
Yeah. This guy knows way more about Emacs Lisp than I do. So, do you want to take the mic?
Yeah, so, here, I got it. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. But, so Emacs Lisp is generally interpreted, but also, and you'll see this with most of the Emacs Lisp that comes with your distribution of Emacs, because there is a substantial amount that comes with your installation, you can compile it as well. And that's going to mostly reduce space, but also it will run faster. An example of, this is all Emacs Lisp. So you would define a function. This is all comments. This is requiring a package, defining variables. Yes, maybe. I did this like just the other day. How was that? How was it again? So, well, I know what I can do. I can see H. Something else. So you can search through a file, obviously, by pressing Control S. It's similar to them. And it'll highlight all the instances. So what is the font I'm using? Thera, I think. Yeah, here it is. Thera code 12. So I actually have an Emacs Lisp form here. It's condition. Depending on the size of the display, the font size will be different. So set default font. Actually, yeah, set default. Did I change it? Font. That's okay. So it looks like I deleted that little bit. Control X, Control C. And it'll ask you if you want to save files, etc. But there is one thing I can do, menu, bar mode, right? If all else fails,
Use the mouse.
yeah. Set default font. Customize Emacs. Faces matching. So yeah.
How often do you have to Google things for Emacs?
Actually, you'd be surprised.
Is there help?
Yeah. So you can Control C H, I. Oh, that's gonna be some Helm thing. So Control H, I is gonna take you to info. Maybe.
Control S.
Control, or no, you can press M and find a node. Zoom. No. Control H. Font. Set font. Set font. Let's see what this does. And this will describe, so every key in Emacs, every key combination is actually an Emacs Lisp function. And so when I type like Control F or when I type down, it's calling an Emacs function for movement in the buffer. And you can look up every single function in Emacs on the fly with Control H, Control F, describe function. And here in my completion framework Helm, it's going to just give me a list of functions, like all the functions that are currently in Emacs, I can look up. So that's how I found set font, and this will describe the function, its arguments, and then you can call functions in any Emacs buffer, any Emacs Lisp functions, you can call anywhere. So scratch, like other window, which is normally bound to like Control XO. If I call this function, wrong number of arguments. Okay.
That's a debugger.
Yeah, so it opened up the debugger because I put that form wrong. Anyway, other window 0, let's try that. 1, it's numeric, I think. And so now I'm in the other buffer, which is the same as if I had pressed the keys to do that. So you can imagine it's very good for scripting some sort of editing session, right? Emacs, it's fine. Base customization. Changing a variable. Here we go. Customize. This is the very much more intuitive and user-friendly way to customize than just writing a bunch of Lisp. So it is possible. You don't have to learn any Lisp to use the editor. Basic faces, the standard faces of Emacs. Basic face. So well, there's one thing we can do here. We can just Google it.
I thought you were going to Google it through Emacs.
Oh, I mean, I can do that too.
Browser. www.
Set fonts, font size. There's the Stack Overflow too. Height is the set face attribute. So I took these away because I actually like the height to be automatically set. However, since I'm running this at a higher resolution on this screen than on that screen, it looks very bad. So I can just put this in here. Height, let's try 200. Bam, okay. And to evaluate a list form, just Control X, Control E. All right, what was I doing before that? That tangent? Demo it L? Yeah, so this is actually the code for demo it here. Yeah. All of this is written in Emacs Lisp, obviously, here. You define functions with defn. This sets it as interactive, so you can actually call it while you're editing. You can bind it to a key, for instance. Oh, yeah. And Emacs Lisp has most of the capabilities you would expect from a modern language. You can define variables, there's global scope. For a long time, there was a scoping issue in Emacs Lisp where it was different than most of the other Lisps in circulation in that you could not create closures in Emacs Lisp because of dynamic scoping. Whereas traditionally, Lisp has lexical scoping, meaning that scope is inherited. Like if you define a function inside of a function, you're going to have the same environment as the outside function. Whereas in dynamic scoping, you don't have that. You can read more about that later. But as opposed to talking about Emacs Lisp, which I'm not sure that is going to be all that useful, when you open Emacs, any modern version of Emacs, meaning not the ones that come pre-installed on the Macs upstairs, you can type mx, which is normally how you call a function in Emacs, package, list packages, interactive functions anyway. And it's going to put you where we were before at all those packages, the huge list of packages here. Most of them are not going to be useful unless you know what they are anyway. However, sometimes you'll find things just by looking through the package list that you wouldn't otherwise find. Now, since I have Melpa, a Melpa repo that I added to my Emacs init file, I have a whole lot of packages. By default, you only have the GNU repo, so you have to add Melpa. And a lot of the functionality that you see that I have here already is due to these packages that I've installed from the repos and customized, of course. So this is actually, I don't know why that says it's not installed, because I thought that's, oh, this is the older version. So that's the theme I'm using, but I'm using a newer version. One thing that's really useful, when you're using Emacs, just like in Vim, you can open up multiple files at once. So if I want to go home here and make a test file, it doesn't exist, it'll ask me if I want to create it, yes. So I can just type stuff in here, type more stuff in, right? I can record with that, when I press F3, it defines a keyboard macro, so I can type stuff in, enter, 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 type more stuff in, enter, enter, type more stuff in, enter. Then press F4, define the keyboard macro. These are throwaway macros, you can save them. But if I press F4 again, it's going to do the same things I just recorded over and over again. You can imagine how that would be useful, for instance, if you're defining a bunch of functions that have similar prototypes. There's a package that actually handles that better than just using macros. But also, it's helpful if, say, you just want to indent a bunch of stuff. Maybe you don't have syntax highlighting or a bunch of useful facilities for some obscure language that you're using. So you can just define a keyboard macro, go to the next line, start, keyboard macro define. Now I can just hold down F4 and indent everything that I want to here.
Can you use a number beforehand, like in Vim?
Yeah. So you can proceed almost any command in Emacs that's bound to a key with an argument. You can define functions when you're writing your own functions as well to do this, but it's Control U, like 4, and then that'll do it 4 times. So Control U, Control U 1, Control U 10, 24, and then F4. We hit the end of buffer after 35 iterations. You'll see there at the bottom. So if we wanted to, I could have just went to through the entire multiple thousand line file, indented everything, unindented everything, whatever I can think to do in a set of keystrokes and save. So you can also have line number mode disabled. What? Oh, it is at the bottom. Yeah, right. So my line number's down here at the bottom right, you'll see. You can, with Alt-G, go to a specific line. Let's say I want to go to line 30. Oops. Alt-G. It's Alt-GG. So 30. I can go, you'll see them at 30, 24. Let's say I want to replace this. So I can select it all, copy it with Alt-W, and then I can use MX, replace, string. Then I can type Control-W, which is, or Control-Y, to yank my replacement here. I want to replace that with better text. And then I'll replace it, every instance of it in the file beyond where my cursor's at with the replacement text. Another thing is you can open multiple files, right? But let's say I have test2 here. I just visit it, create it, add in some text here. Now I can open up another buffer at the same time and look at them side by side here. And then I can hit Control-X-B to go back to the other test, and it's right here side by side. I can open another one, so I have two here, down here, Control-X-B. Let's go back to demo it down here in the bottom right. And then I can save all of this to a register. So this window configuration, I'm going to save it to M. And then I can go back to one window here, save this to WM. That's not the correct thing to do. I just saved over the split, split, split. Okay. Control-X, RWM, X1, and then I can go back to it with Control-X-RJ, and I'll open it. So I can also make. I can open up some PDFs, so read, let's open up this artificial intelligence textbook. It's really large, but the cool thing about Emacs is it doesn't matter, we can read PDFs. It's cool. If I want to save this register to Control-X-RWP for PDFs, XRJM, I can go back here, go back to there. I can jump to page 333. Here I am at chapter 8.5, using the same commands to jump a line in a text file. So what else did I have? What's up?
So if you jump back to M,
Mm-hmm.
and then you jump back to that, will it stay on that page, 360?
Yeah. So Control-X, or actually, no, that's a good question. I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Let's find out.
Yeah. So M, Control-X-RJ-P. Yeah, it's back where I am, because it's not saving what's in the buffers, it's saving like what the buffers are. So you can also split again like this while you have a PDF up, and like say I want to open up a terminal, MX term. Now I'll run bash. Now I have a terminal underneath it, and I can do all the things that you would expect you could do with a terminal. I can run top right here. I can save this new register to P now. CR. Yeah, I can save it to O instead. What's up?
What about
compiling things.
That's what you're working on.
So I've just opened up a terminal so I can run make, obviously, from the terminal in here. No target specified. So if I go back to projects, no completion, huh? Oh, did I just open up regular term? That's why. Kill terminal, running process. Let's see, term. CD. Oh, that's the issue. MX shell. Now I'll have completion. CD projects list CD 42. And I can just select with Helm, make, what? Right. Oh, go for it. Yeah.
So the way I've been doing it for a while is, yes, you can also go to the terminal, but we've got the cool, we've got a cool little compile command that you can actually, I can't tell where I'm at with its keyboard. So, Jesus Christ. There we go. So if you hit metax compile, there you go. You can set a compile command. Let's say we don't want it to be make k. We just say like gcc get nextline.c, and then libft dot anything. Where's your asterisk?
It's right here. Above
Cool.
colon.
Dot C. No. And then there you go.
Exit abnormally. Sweet.
It'll compile it for you by running the command, and then if you want to do it over again, you just say recompile. Wow. Bam. And then it'll run exactly the same command on everything, and even update the tags if you've got tags. It's very cool.
Beyond that too, beyond opening a shell and compiling within the editor itself, you can also run any shell command inside of Emacs without opening up a separate buffer. So if I want to list, it's going to, in a mini buffer here, show me a list of things in the directory, and that's just when you press Alt exclamation point, bang, it's going to let you run any shell command here. So top you can't run because it uses curses. It's not interactive. But I could use ifconfig, sudo ifconfig, right? Another thing is that I don't have to, I can use all the packages I want and not really worry about whether someone else has them or not, as long as I can SSH into their machine. Because you can open up directories in Emacs. Emacs is its own file explorer here, dired mode. So I'm in dired. If I want, I can mark all of these, right? Then I can say delete. Let's not delete this. Let's unmark these. I'll just delete the tags real quick. X. Delete tags, yeah, okay. Then I can go, of course, I can browse easily through all of these. I can say I want to cat this, run any shell command by pressing that. It'll cat it at the bottom here. Of course, I can just Control XF find file and open it up that way. And it'll open it up in a new buffer. With some of the nice packages I have, I can also follow the definitions here, run G tags, yeah. What's up?
How long would you say it's taken you to get to this point? With regards to how well you understand Emacs?
Not very long.
No?
Yeah, because at the same time, I'm like, it seems like I'm just spitting out a bunch of random shit, but at any point I can just go info and like look up what I'm not understanding. I can hit Control H, W, where is command? So if I want to like say where's command other window, it'll tell me other windows on Control X O there. Control H W, where is command find file? Open menu bar. Oh, that's not right. That's not the thing it should say. Helm find file, because I rebound it. It's Control X, Control F, which is normally what your find file is. I like being able to like search through all of this.
One more question.
Sure, yeah.
It's a relaxing question. How long have you been using Emacs as your main editor?
Probably around 2 years. Not that long. I'm like not very good at Emacs compared to people who know what they're doing.
Do you want to close out?
Sure.
Meta X, the best.
Oops.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, exclamation point. Yes. Yes.
How do I open that?
Hit that
Uh-huh.
super key, and then you can just type in what you want to open. Use the GUI, or it's gonna.
And we got one last thing to show because it's the best.
Yeah, all my startup stuff's gonna run. Log me into IRC.
There we
check
go.
my email. Yeah, there's Tetris. There's games. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games inside of Emacs.
And that's it. That's all we got. I'm just gonna keep playing Tetris. You guys can go do whatever.
Awesome. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, awesome. We have one more very short presentation. I think like 5 minutes.
Do you have a plan?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Awesome.
So I was originally going to present on Vim, but you know, it struck me something that Mason said about customization really piqued my interest. So I really do like to customize my environment, and one of the things that allows me to do that is by having all of my dot files in a single repository, so I can share them amongst all my computers. So I think I'm going to just kind of go over my dot file configuration and how I'm able to set that up in a portable way.
What's a dot file configuration for the people that don't know? And who are you?
We'll get to that in a moment if I can figure out how to output my display here. Cool. So I'm Eric. I'm a cadet here at 42. Right now, I'm in the C++ P scene, so that's kind of where my mindset has been. A couple of weeks ago, we had somebody compromise the system here, and what they did is they changed everyone's ZSHRC file to act in some malicious way. So our internal IT did the quickest thing they did to fix that, which is they deleted everyone's ZSHRC. So what's that, right? Well, we use a shell here called ZSH, and when it starts up, by default, it's going to look in a specific location for a shell script. And this shell script can run arbitrary code. So essentially, anything in there is going to open up every time you open up a new shell and start running. So that's awesome if you want to customize your environment. Like maybe you wanted to add an alias, so you can basically create your own commands, that kind of thing. But it's also really bad if somebody gets access to your computer and puts some other code in there. Like, you know, some people, just to mess with their friends, they might want to change the ls command to not ls. But anyway, so this is actually a kind of a great opportunity for me to test out something, which is my automated dot file deployment. So when this happened, all I had to do was run a shell script that I'd previously written, which it cloned back in my dot files and created symlinks for them. So I was able to restore my environment really quickly. And that's because I tested this a lot because I use it on Linux, BSD, and Mac. So in doing that, I've also learned about a lot of proprietary things that I thought were normal scripting things to do that I was doing on the Mac, and then later found out that they weren't compatible with Linux or with BSD, that sort of thing. So that's been a lot of fun. So one thing I haven't learned how to do here yet is clone my display. This is normally my Linux machine, but my Linux is acting up, so I'm booted into FreeBSD on it. So this will be a little bit of an adventure. Cool. So I have an alias that's actually this is so another point Mason had brought up is he'd brought up about how there's slow typing if you're SSH into something. So there's a newer protocol that solves that called Mosh. It does buffering so that essentially you don't have slow keystrokes. It kind of handles that transaction for you. But this is not working for me right now, so I'm going to SSH in here like a peasant. Okay, I forgot I actually don't have internet here, so I'm just going to do this locally. Cool. So I got a couple things going on here. I have my public keys from all the computers that I use. I have a ZSHRC for my Z shell, and I have my vim config in init.vim. So let's just take a quick look at this shell script, which kind of puts all this together. So this is a pretty simple shell script. All it does is it checks to see if I've already got one of these files loaded, and then if I don't, it's going to go ahead and create a symlink for me and link that to the actual directory, which is just a Git repository. So this is the source of truth here then is in the Git repository, and then the symlinks are going to the correct places on the various operating systems. I guess that's the extent of what I wanted to show here today. But I think maybe we'll make a regular thing of this and just do little snippets of.
Can I use your keyboard just for one more
Yes.
thing? Okay, so I practiced like a really ridiculous. Oh wow, it's only up there. This will show you. This is just a regular screen, and without even looking, I should be able to go into Vim. I'm in Vim. I'm not looking. I hope I'm in Vim. You guys can maybe be the thing. Hey, hello everybody, thanks for coming. And just like you can open things in Emacs or Vim, now I know, one at a time, you can close things based on a buffer as well. So if I close one, right, with quit 1, quit 2, quit 3, oh, I'm still in insert mode. So you press escape to leave insert mode. So quit 1, quit 2. So I'm going to quit in a staircase, and it's going to leave us with just one wall. And that's what you do when you're really bored and you want to split your windows a lot, make them look pretty. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to Moonlight. We have Renee wants a quick 10-second announcement.
Yeah.
Hey y'all. So, oh, shit, my bad, people online. Okay, we got a good crowd here. So I'll say it now. Friday we have DJ Club. I was here late. I'm sorry. We have DJ Club Friday. Anyone wants to come? I'm having a special guest coming over. He's gonna teach us bead matching. So if you guys want to come see what type of equipment he has and stuff like that, it's from 5 to 7. People online watching, come join us. Anyone can join. If you're a senior, take the test, then come down here, come downstairs. But yeah. Spend the whole time on the test. Yeah. Thank you.